Oh, roll call first. I see Anne's here. I have everybody, Pat B in person. Jennifer. Brian. Okay. Now we'll call the meeting to order at 10:59. So first of all, has everybody had a chance to review the July minutes? If there are no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to approve them. And second? All in favor? I don't usually do that, but any opposed? Okay. Trying to play by the rules. All right. And the agenda for today, any suggestions, changes? I do have one thing I want to add at the end as a new business item that Don mentioned, and that was the cell tower proposal for Ocean Pines. If anybody has been reading up on that, he has some questions, so we'll just put that at the end as a new business item. Have a motion to approve the agenda? See Jennifer and I see Pat. We'll do it to a second. Okay. So we've begin my comments, first of all, by calling to attention those who do not read the Ocean Pines Progress, this article about our July meeting. So you're not missing anything. It was very, it's not well written and it's got a lot of misspellings. But the gist of it was trying to, bring up all the information that we discussed regarding the resignation of Patty Gamby. And this is how this came about. First, I was contacted by Josh Davis, who formerly was communications director here, I think was his title. And he had my email from having previously dealt with him with all the articles for the quarterly newsletter that I wrote. But
he was dismissed.
Right, I said former employee, but he still had my email. And because it didn't come through, an Ocean, we asked not to have our personal emails on the Ocean Pines websites, but it didn't come through the environment. It came through my personal email. And he asked if he could have a copy of the document we discussed, which was a compilation of the things Patty raised. And, some of the things I said, well, this is kind of what happened, but not exactly.
Does he work for them?
Well, he was the acting editor in chief because the longtime publisher editor passed away. So he reached out to me about that document, and I said, well, that's that was a private document for the committee. I mean, we discussed it. That should be enough. But he didn't identify himself as a journalist. Very, very unprofessional. So then the second time he reached out, he said, well, I'm writing an article about this. Didn't name publication, nothing else. So I said, in that case, we're not really supposed to talk to the media. You should contact the Ocean Pines administration. So I guess he skipped that over and just went to watching the meeting video. You can get a transcript off YouTube. They're not very good, but so he made it sound to me, being a former journalist, as if he actually spoke to me. He did not speak to me, other than those brief email exchanges. So I really found this to be just trying to make trouble. But if anybody wants, you can have my copy if you'd like.
I read it. I was surprised.
You were surprised?
Yeah.
Did it sound to you? Because my husband first picked this up and said, "Hey, this is you're mentioned in this article." I said, "Really?"
Why?
It was written as if he talked to me, and these were direct quotes. So all of this is just, very poor journalism as far as I'm concerned. And I haven't heard from anybody about it other than you said you read it.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff read it.
Yeah,
but
read it.
It's again
trying to stay with newspaper
just
for my health.
now my name will live in infamy as far as progress readers are concerned, because I was, called out as being much more critical, I think I was.
Was there a letter to the editors?
Well, he is the editor now, so what good would that do? It's acting editor-in-chief. He wrote every article, apparently didn't have anybody spell checking him or editing his copy, but so it's, I just leave well enough alone since I haven't heard from anybody else on the board of directors about my misbehavior.
Somebody must own this paper at this point. I mean, the person who passed away, whose name escapes me.
I don't know
Um,
if the masthead has anybody else on it at this point. I think it was just him. If there is a masthead.
Yes, even if there is.
Nobody on the board of directors.
Care?
Any exception to what you.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I don't want to make anybody mad.
No, you didn't.
So, yeah, I don't really think there's anybody else to contact at this point, and I think Jeff said that Josh is trying to keep this publication alive.
Yeah.
I guess he needed a job, so he was no longer employed here. I wish him luck, but I hope he goes back to Turtles. Okay, and again, I forgot to remind everybody, obviously, the meeting's being recorded, and PN is my Otter AI note taker. That's the only person in the room besides us right now. Josh, if you're out there. Okay. Just want to remind everybody that we're gonna have some vacancies on this committee. We have 2 openings, and then I will make it a 3. And Ann, I think your last meeting is in October, correct? You are on an extension, which you can request again, I believe.
I don't know. I've been on this committee since 2018.
Back to the duck.
And I've had a couple of extensions. I'm not sure I even am allowed to, but, and for some reason, October 23rd sticks in my head as my last day.
But it is, it's always the day of our meeting. I
Oh,
think,
okay.
That month's meeting.
At this point, I don't intend to extend.
Okay.
Some of you may have noticed, not in that paper, I don't think, but somewhere along the line that the Worcester County Humane Society, in addition to everything else that we do for the community, is moving ahead on a new building.
That's great.
Yes, and we're working with the town of Ocean City. Because I am on the board and treasurer, I am involved in this, in addition to the regular bookkeeping stuff that I do for them. That will be taking a significant amount of my time. So I think I need to.
Is the current building one there, off of, but near the golf?
Yeah, it's across from the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on
What's that road called?
Eagles Nest Road.
Eagles Nest.
And the land we are on is owned by the town of Ocean City. They built the building in 1989. It was a very nice gesture for them to do. But we are wildly outdated in all our facilities. And literally the town of Ocean City would like to have that land back to do something related to the golf course that's across the street. And they actually tell us that, our barking dogs tend to irritate the golfers, which I could care less about, really. But so what we have arranged with them is that they are going to donate, or at least right now they charge us a very, very favorable rent for the land and the building. They are going to trade us another piece of land that they own, and we give them back this land. And
It's a town of Ocean City?
the town of Ocean City owns the land we're on and the building.
That it was officially outside the city limits, but I guess, they still have West Ocean City.
I found out recently because of looking at the options of available land. Now, Ocean City owns several pieces of land outside of Ocean City.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting to know.
so we're looking at one at this point, primarily, but, there's some legal stuff we gotta go through, but, they would continue to own the land and rent it to us, for the next 100 years at some very ridiculous minor amount of money.
Oh, good. I mean,
Yeah, so
community service.
the project's gonna take several years, not the least of which involves raising a ton of money right now, but so that's going to be my life.
Okay, well, thank you for serving on the committee for all these years.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to, so I understand that we're gonna have an election. We just need a simple majority for a quorum. So we'll be doing that in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, I went by to see if our oyster cage sign that Jeff got in, approved. It's not there yet. As of yesterday, I did check again. It's all they were going to do is copy a sign they made for the marine activities cage, which is at the yacht club, I believe, somewhere in the marina there, and just put a credit line for us on the bottom, which I thought, hey, that's great because I think we had ours first.
I'll follow up on
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, we discussed trying to find a day where everybody could go to Horn Point, couldn't find one. So, yeah, they do have regular up until, well, I guess Labor Day, which is next week. And it's passing because it's a general tour date, but you can always go or call ahead and arrange for a tour. It's supposedly, a great place to see how they mass produce more oysters. And, since we're helping with, but our oysters are going back into the St. Martin's River, right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. I know the Coastal Bays also does oyster restoration, and they take, I guess people can get cages and spat from them as well. And anything we can do to encourage cleaner water through oyster, right, it's a great idea. Okay, so now on to the election of the new committee chair. This will be my second to the last meeting. Don is not here because he's on vacation, but I accepted, he self-nominated, or I can nominate him formally. So I nominated Don Wolski to be the next chair. I need a second on that. Okay. Is there anyone else interested in becoming the chair of this committee? Don't all raise your hands at once.
Are you gonna stay on as a committee member?
No, because it's mostly because of just the time and the fact that I have to arrange to be here, or I've tried virtual, but even, not being a full-time resident here, it's a little bit tough to pencil to get that Wednesday. Plus, I just have found also maintaining 2 properties is a lot more work than I thought. I've been trying to downsize from our primary home, but so far my husband isn't buying it.
You've done an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate your participation, even though sometimes it's hard when you're doing virtual. I found that I did it a couple times when with our last Tim was chair, and it was like I would raise my hand and other things, and no one noticed. So
What it is, but I'm maybe forced to retire or retired soon, so
no.
I might have more time, so
Oh.
it works.
Yeah, I think I've been reading. Did I read that they're closing the visitor center?
They're closing a lot.
Yeah.
Everything's really flawed
Yeah.
right now. There's nothing.
It's
It's
Wallops Island. Yeah, that's where Pat works. Just in case, Jennifer probably this is your first time meeting her, so.
yes.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to meet you.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're continued. I believe you are on a 1-year extension. I think
I
so.
think so.
If you go to
I think
the
I was agreed
website,
for
they're very good about chronicling and putting the right dates for the committee members. So, but I remember you and John applied for extensions, and that's supposedly 1 year at a time.
So hopefully I'll be.
Well, great. You have a lot of knowledge to share.
We'll see.
Okay, so you didn't volunteer to run for chair though, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take a vote. All in favor of Don? Anybody? Oh, me too. Anybody, folks? No, okay, Don, elected unanimously. I hope you know what you're getting into. No, I'm just kidding. He's I did go over some of the duties, which are, there's a lot of reporting. You get to do the annual report. Yay. All right. And of course, he has all this information, which is also available on the Ocean Pines website. It's a little bit hard to find. You have to dig into the committee area to find it, but I didn't read it before I became chair, that's for sure. The only other thing that I have been doing this past month is I worked on researching. We talked about trying to encourage the association to plant native trees. And when they have an opportunity, such as people keep running into places at the Parkway and on Cathell Road, which I don't know exactly where. I heard there was something that hit around the North Gate, but I don't know if that's been replaced yet. Okay, but I do drive up and down Cathell, and there's still some blank spots there. So Jeff has submitted the charging document to board, and these were, I was trying to focus on the flowering natives because that seems to be what they're looking for here. So this is a list that I got basically by going through the DNR site. Yeah, some of them aren't as colorful as, the cherry trees they've been planting, but there is a native cherry somewhere. I don't think it's on this list. Do you think there's one that is considered native? If you're, this Cornus florida is the common white flowering dogwood, or sometimes they're pink, depends. That's also somewhat susceptible to borers, as I found in, not at this house, but at my other house. And some of these other hawthorns and fringe trees are pretty. And there, of course, I think they already have southern magnolias planted around.
Yeah,
The sweet bays are smller, I think.
the Cathell Road,
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, there are magnolias on there, like every other, there are magnolias
And
and
then-
crepe myrtles.
Great myrtles.
But what kind of magnolias are they?
I think the ones that I've seen are the southern ones. They become pretty big, but I think sweet bays are smaller. There's so many different types of magnolias that it's kind of hard to. I have one it has pink flowers and it's deciduous, so we get pretty flowers for, depending on the frost, maybe a week, and then if we get a frost, boom, they're gone. Anyway. Any comment, we'll have to watch and see if we see anything get planted, and if so, what they are. It would be, in some of the prominent areas, would be nice if they labeled the trees. So people could say, oh, and native, just a suggestion in case anybody wants to take that up. Okay, and we did discuss the coming Earth Day. Don was particularly interested in having a fall cleanup, especially around the problem with invasive vines. And I think you were looking to the administration about that, maybe? Jeff. There's a lot of overgrowth along the Southgate Pond. Some of the trees bordering the pond are very much, vines will eventually show, especially ivy. English ivy will kill your trees. And wisteria is even worse. So I don't know what kind of, if they have the staffing available to do that, but if the committee could, get some volunteers to help and go out there with their loppers and their work gloves, just
Right.
all the associated would just have to provide cleanup, or maybe somebody on their public works who's got knowledge of trees and vines who could supervise. But a fall cleanup would be great. It's usually once the trees start losing their leaves, it's easier to see these vines. So, but then for actual,
Would I know which vines to lop or?
I think he does. I think he knows the difference.
Any vine that's on a tree. is
You
lopped.
don't want any vines on trees. I mean, there are clematis and other things that are ornamentals, but you don't want English ivy or wisteria in particular are the offenders, and they are. Well, usually there's two types. There's a Japanese wisteria and a Chinese wisteria, but I think they're both considered invasive. But the names alone tell you they didn't come from here. but English ivy is a big problem.
No, that's the worst.
because it gets those little teeth in into your bricks, into anything. Okay, well, I hope that happens. Maybe if Don is here for the next meeting, he can, I would say, October, mid to late October would be a good time for that. But with the climate staying warmer longer, maybe even November. And then, looking at the calendar for next year, I really thought it would be important to do an Earth Day cleanup on Earth Day. I mean, without even trying, we got good publicity for that. And I think to maybe rally more members of the community and get the help of Beach Heroes again. I don't know, has anybody else here participated in a Beach Heroes cleanup? They did every Tuesday. The last couple times I went, they just had too many people. They seem to have plenty of volunteers, so I just say, let's give them something else to do. And I would think it would be a great way, maybe an outgrowth of that could be, regular cleanups here in Ocean Heights. I mean, it's pretty tidy here, but you do see places where people just, especially near the retail areas, where they just toss, cans and plastic cups and liquor bottles, which I always find amusing.
I found 3 full-size vodka bottles thrown in the ditch area right next to our mailboxes.
Really? Oh, you're in section 10, right?
Yes, yeah,
Or Sherwood Forest somewhere.
Footbridge, the mailbox.
Okay, yeah, that's not my boxes.
I was used to seeing where they threw those little.
The minis, that's what
when I
usually-
walk my dogs. But when I saw at first there were 2, and then a couple weeks later there was 1. I thought, that's just really odd. Why would you throw your,
Well, obviously somebody
didn't want to get caught with it? But
and actually, if they're, especially if it's clear glass, you can put it in the recycling bin. Yeah, it's like, it's not like,
so anyway, I picked them up and took them out. It wasn't in my glass recycled, but I just thought it was kind of odd, that's
Yeah.
all.
Don, I think, maybe it was for Bay Day a couple years ago or last year, he collected a
Yeah.
huge of just minis.
Yeah.
Because usually, but yeah, a whole barrel of them.
I think it was all on Beach.
Oh, okay, which is bordering the back of
That's
Ocean
elite.
Pines or the north end of Ocean Pines.
And they were 90% Fireball.
Yeah, that's what they noticed.
It's near a golf course. It could be, the golfers or like maybe so just, give myself, steady my nerves before I get out there on the course. Oh, it's a cinnamon
Cinnamon.
whiskey. It's been around for maybe a decade or more. I think I guess its popularity is continuing.
Sounds
Here.
I know what it
It's
is.
probably, I guess it's we can't call it bourbon unless it comes from Kentucky, but I guess it's, a brown whiskey.
I've heard it tastes like the Fireball candy. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think there has been some in my house at one point, not for me, but
Yeah.
it's like, no, thank you. But anyway, so that's the type of cleanup, or, if it's kind of something that gets on the calendar and scheduled, I think you can get people to participate. And we know, and if you get Beach Heroes to help, they've got all the equipment, so. So for any of these cleanups, all we would have to be really asking, the association to do would be to A, publicize it, and B, pick up the leave behinds. They did that for us, at Earth Day this year, so I think they do it again.
What is Earth Day?
It's always the 22nd.
22nd.
It's my wedding anniversary too, so I remember that. So,
Now, if somebody wants to participate, will there be gloves and all those sorts of things?
Well,
Because a lot of these
if-
vines are poisonous.
Well, if we, depending on, the fall cleanup, I don't know, because you would definitely need that, but if we get the participation of the Beach Heroes folks, they give them out. You go to one of their Tuesday cleanups and they give you a picker, a bag, and if you'd like, disposable gloves.
And I'm gonna go ahead and ask the association if you all decide to do some type of volunteer vine cleanup, I'll see if they'll
They'll help.
with gloves and
Okay.
stuff.
What, do you think we need to put a charging document or
No,
just find out
I
if
just
it's,
think
okay, they have gloves too, I guess. It'd be great. And anybody, people who don't have, well, for the vines, you don't really need a picker. You just need, I would say, a good pair of gloves and Clippers.
I'm not
Clippers.
Big.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the wisteria, sometimes even make sure you have a really sharp, lopper, because otherwise it's really hard to cut. Very hard to eradicate.
I have one that keeps coming back in my yard and I use a little teeny weeny hacksaw to get down in there because my biggest, hardest pruners on my lover.
Still on the.
Yes, we had to use a chainsaw to cut down but the vines have already gone underground and they reappear everywhere. You just have to keep, because, you're working in your yard, you can trip over them pretty easily too. I've done that. Anyway, okay, that's all I have, except the one new thing, which is the proposal for 150-foot cell tower. I'm not exactly sure what the location they're talking about, but Don mentioned that it would impact, he thinks it might impact the property views of some homeowners. There's also like a maintenance building or something that has to go along with it.
Yeah, what goes along with it is a generator in case power goes out. Because those things run on electricity, so there's a backup generator that is at the bottom of the tower.
Did anyone here go to the meeting about that? Oh, thank you. So who's gonna build the tower?
It's a company out of Manassas, Virginia, that Tim Robinson is talking to.
He's the chief, right?
Yes, he took on the initiative from a safety standpoint because it's, some people have a hard time dialing 911 in the Pines. And we just had, I think there was just an example of it this week where somebody couldn't dial out 911. Anyway, the tower, they looked at several sites through the Pines and the best location was right in the middle of the Pines on the golf course.
On the golf
Well,
course.
it's property owned by the golf course.
Okay.
So it will have those artificial looking.
Yeah, it looks like a fake pine
Pine.
tree.
Looks like a tree.
Oh, like the thing that's
But it
on
doesn't feel-
Elm Road.
I don't think
I
Yes,
can
birds.
provide you the documents that were sent at the meeting. They have photos of all the perspective from the local homeowners on what it'll look like.
Okay.
Can you see it? Oh, yeah.
Is that document on the website?
I'm sure it is, but I can scan it and send it to you.
Well, one thing, 150 foot, it's like, okay, how big is that? There's a tower, on Gunpoint Road.
Yeah.
And there's a tower over behind the, Valero gas station on 589. So for comparison, I guess it would be nice to know, is that are those 150-foot towers? Is that a common? But again, maybe this information is in that
I
document.
think it is.
So, the only question is then don't they have to, the people whose carriers are not giving them good service, don't they have to get those folks?
So they have 3 carriers that have, that will opt in to use the tower, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile.
Those are the 3 biggest.
And they actually pay, the company that erects the tower owns the tower. Whoever utilizes the tower pays rent.
That's what I thought. So that's how they pay. It pays for itself eventually.
And a portion of that will be given to Ocean Pines.
Okay, because it's on Ocean Pines property.
Right.
So it sounds like a win-win to me, but as long as the people whose views are going to be impacted don't jet, I guess they haven't so far. I don't know about, I've never had a problem getting cell service here.
I mean, I have no cell service at my house.
All the time.
I have T-Mobile.
So this is the stuff, you gotta understand, this is the start. This won't
Oh,
be a
years.
cure all for the entire Ocean Pines. This is a start. So there could be another tower put in. Down the road, they could redirect. Once this is put up, the major carriers could redirect their antennas because this new tower alleviates traffic on all the other ones and they can reposition them and Ocean Pines would be the beneficiary of something like that. So this is a start of the improvement of cell coverage in Ocean Pines.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with T-Mobile, but then I'm closer to Gunpoint Road, so maybe I'm getting that tower's, pointing, antennas pointing towards me or something. I used to have a problem, once I got past, Bayside on 611, if I went out to Assateague, to either, the Assateague beaches. But suddenly, that seems to have improved. I don't know, if new
So
service.
we're at a point now where there'll be a motion brought forward to the board for approval. So we're at that point.
So the board,
The board would approve or disapprove that.
so just look for the agendas
Probably next meeting.
next meeting, okay, which will
Do you
be,
think it's gonna go either way?
I haven't asked my colleagues how they feel about it, but I would imagine that it's favorable.
is the agenda for the meeting out yet? 'Cause
No, it doesn't come out until like 4 days before the meeting, which is next to last Saturday in the month. That's the 20th of September.
Okay, so it's not this coming Saturday.
No, we don't have a meeting in August.
Oh, okay, Labor Day weekend too, so.
Yeah, well, we had the annual meeting in August, which took the place of a board meeting, and we also had a board
Yes,
organizational meeting.
congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.
Does that mean you have to take notes? You get,
Yes.
you get a note taker, works for me. At any rate, okay, we'll let everybody watch for that next, September agenda to see if anybody shows up to raise concerns about their views. But if everybody is AT&T customers in particular are having issues. How about you? You have issues?
When I first moved here, I did. I switched from AT&T to Verizon because my wife didn't have any problem with Verizon, so.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I still only get about one bar, but I can get some.
I have no trouble, but I have.
I only have one bar here right now.
I can be out in the middle of the street and still pick up the Wi-Fi from my house.
What are you on?
I live off on Spruce, which is off.
Which cell carrier do you have?
Verizon.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't had any.
Yeah, I don't have any problems. I have Verizon. No issue whatsoever.
Well, let's fix it for AT&T customers.
Yeah.
I have problems with.
Really?
Particularly, yeah, if I go, I live right on the corner here.
Right.
Beecham and St. Martin's, and when I go to Berlin, I don't even bother picking up my phone until I get like halfway to Berlin. And going this way, it's the other way. We used to, and I don't know if it's related, and I computer stuff is not my expertise, but when we first moved here, and Mediacom switched over to their new, I don't know, broadband, whatever it is. But we found out in the summer in particular, we were having issues with downloading stuff and viewing stuff on our regular stuff, like our TV or computers and stuff. And we found out, my son came over because he's a millennial, he knew what to do. And he tracked it. They were, like you said, they were transferring it and taking out to like Idaho and stuff. So,
Packets would be sent there, and then in order for you to get I used to have problems with Mediacom, but I have to say they've been much better recently, probably because I have competition, and that's.
Yeah, that's what I have now, and it's improved tremendously in the last year and a half.
but it's nice that that splitting is gonna come the other way.
Right. I mean, let's be honest, most of the cell phone towers that are up there now support one thing. Ocean City.
Yeah.
And I don't have a landline here because it's part-time, but do people still have landlines?
We did until a month ago. But when we built our house, we have a security system. in it,
Ah.
And at the time, we needed a landline. So we actually got it through MediaCom with the other stuff, but we finally realized we haven't needed a landline for a while, and it seems to be where all the scam calls go to.
Oh,
So
yes, I never answered our landline.
No,
My
so we-
home unless, it usually says scam likely or, unknown caller. Unfortunately, my husband likes to pick everyone up.
So we,
Go ahead.
yeah, we canceled it, but we've never had any problems with our cell sort of thing.
I had a problem with buffering on my television,
What?
Mediacom. Last week I bought a repeater
Ah,
and hooked it up. It was 1999 and it hasn't buffered since I put it in. So it's one of those things that actually seems to have worked.
I was just looking.
If you call them, they want you to buy a better.
Right. And of course they did.
My house is 1,900 square feet. You're, when you're selling me, can't. $20 fix it. So,
So you had a buffering problem and I'm just gonna let my husband know
Yeah.
about this. I thought you bought a repeater.
yes, it just takes the signal from my modem,
Mm-hmm.
boost it to, you put it halfway between where the modem is and where my
It's a-
television is.
It's like an additional,
Yeah, it's
a router or whatever.
So it's called a repeater?
Router.
router repeater or
Router
something.
repeater.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was on sale on Amazon for $19.99, and I said, I'll try it. And I gotta say, I didn't think it was gonna work.
But it works.
Well, I have DirecTV and I have a modem that comes right into the house.
Yeah.
And then from there, all the other TVs are just getting it from the receiver and works.
Well, it
wonderful.
works for my televisions, but I moved my printer to another part of the house and it wouldn't pick up the Wi-Fi because I Wi-Fi print, so. That's why I was asking, because I really don't want it, I want to put it in where I had it on my office. And it just wouldn't pick up.
Well, you know, the cell phone providers are now also trying to push internet off of the cell service, but if you can't even get good phone, phone
Yeah.
service, forgive me. Pat Bernard, were you at the last meeting?
No, I wasn't.
Well,
My
apparently,
summer's been jammed. I'm sorry.
no, I just noticed you were quoted in this.
Oh, my God.
Well, you said
Uh-oh.
it wasn't you at all. I think it was Ann. So I just,
What was said?
another committee member, Patricia Benner, said there were originally 8 signs that she helped
Oh, yeah.
place throughout the committee.
Yeah, it was me.
So, because I was like, wait a minute, according to the minutes, you weren't there, so I didn't.
No, I wasn't.
This is bad. This is journalism at its worst.
Just
If
ungenuine.
Mr. Davis is,
Well, as again, this guy was scrambling to try to keep to keep the paper going, and because of I don't know if the editor was ill for a long time or if it was sudden, but was,
I think it was fairly sudden.
well, we'll just have to see if it comes out, if there's a September issue, and if there is, then, committee could write and, not that they would probably, I don't know, do they have letters to the editor?
They used to, I think.
I think that, I always think that most of these papers exist primarily for advertising revenue, because it's
Yeah.
mostly ads, and which is, I'm glad they're, I hate to see us lose, any kind of news outlets. Because this is an area where I think all the major television and radio stations are owned by the same company.
We certainly are.
FCC doesn't care anymore. Anyway, is there anything else for new business before we move to adjourn? This is gonna be a kind of a short meeting. Okay. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn? Okay, thank you, Brian, and second. And all in favor? Okay.
So when's our next meeting?
It will be, I'm sorry, I didn't put it on the,
Wednesday.
well, just to be, I'll look that up, just to make sure I know exactly. The it'll be the 24th of September.